Hey, what is up everyone, and thanks for joining me here today on this channel. But before I get started, I just want to say it's been a very long time. I ended up getting sick, and then after that I went on vacation, so not to ramble, but that's pretty much what happened. And of course work has been busy, and plus the last thing is that I didn't really get any new figures during this time. And speaking of, this is Saint Seiya, Saint Cloth Myth EX Zeta Alcor Bud. This guy was actually released close to the beginning of this year, and I know it's been around almost half a year. And of course, this guy, as you can see here, this is a P Bandai exclusive. Now, for those of you that don't know, P Bandai figures are pretty hard to get. Right? Basically, the only way to order them is you have to go on the P Bandai website itself and order from there. You can't just buy them wholesale from the manufacturers. So that's why it's harder, and of course these guys are much more expensive to pick up. So I was finally able to actually track down this guy. I ordered him right before I left for vacation, and when I came back he was ready to pick up, so here he is. Now, if you watched one of my earliest videos, you will know that I mentioned something in there, kind of like as a hint. Now, if you look at the top here, this is the Big Dipper constellation, and of course, the Zeta star, the Alcor star, is this one right here. But I did mention before that this is a twin star. Now, putting him aside here, this was Zeta Mizar Sid. This was one of the first reviews that I ever did. And of course, like I said, the twin star, these guys are in fact twins. And if you just look at basically the armor, these guys are exact duplicates of each other. The only difference between these guys is just the color. So just want to show you that. So getting that out of the way, let's take a quick look at this box here. And of course, we got Bud here in his silver, pretty much all complete whitish silver Alcor cloth. And here we have the saber-toothed tiger here, the background of course Asgard, so it's all snowy and cold. On the side we get the silver, what was it, god robe, there we go, god robe. And of course here on the back we do see the photos of the twins here on the back, him throwing his Shadow Viking Tiger Claw, most of the different faces here, and of course that battle position. And of course, being P Bandai, he actually comes with two specific objects or items that we'll take a look at in a second here. And of course, here we have him in another battle pose. On the top, we already saw Zeta Alcor Bud with the Big Dipper. And on the bottom here, we just got another pose of Bud. So, without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see what he has to offer. Alright, and here we have Bud alongside the Zeta Alcor God Robe. So taking a quick look at this God Robe, here we see a saber-toothed tiger. It's very, very nice, very silver. It's basically the whole body is chrome silver. We do get kind of these matte silverish white paint. Basically where the Zeta Mizar God Robe had the dark green and light green. This one basically has the silver, chrome, and kind of the matte silver. So that's really, really nice. It's the exact same God Robe as the other one, as I mentioned. It's now just in a kind of white and silver color. So there's the underside, and there's the top. We do also have the Odin Sapphire, but however, spoilers alert, if you have seen the anime, you'll know that there's only one Odin Sapphire between the two Zeta God Warriors. So there is some kind of feud going on between these two brothers, but I won't go too much into it until later on. So that is that. Moving this out of the way, let's take a quick look at Bud himself. Very simple figure, very skinny, as these guys typically are. Articulation-wise, head is on a ball hinge, base of the neck is on a ball joint, shoulders are on butterflies. There's a ball joint inside the body, hinged to around 90, can go all the way around. We have a bicep rotation, double jointed elbow, ball hinge at the wrist. We have a torso that does kind of extend for armoring purposes, and it collapses as well. It can look forward that much and up that much. We do have a swivel at the waist. Leg kicks forward that far, kicks back around there, a little bit to the side. We do have the splits, which is very nice. The hips do feel a little loose, which is a little concerning, especially with these Mythcloth EX figures, because the armor is primarily metal, so we'll see how his stability is when he's all armored up. We do have a thigh rotation right here, a double bend at the knee, which gets you pretty much 180. A swivel at the ankle, a hinge at the ankle that goes forward that much, back that much, a tilt that goes around 45, and of course a toe pivot that gets you that much. So pretty good articulation, pretty standard stuff. And having a quick look at the face, like I said, this guy looks exactly the same as Sid, which we will do a comparison on with, rather, towards the end of the video. So yeah, without further ado, let's take all the armor off of the Zeta Alcor God Robe and put it on Bud, and we'll be right back. All right, and here we have Bud in the Zeta Alcor robe, along with all of his accessories. But starting off, let's take a quick look at the figure itself. And as we can see here, very, very nice looking. And if you have watched my previous video, this is the exact figure as Zeta Mizar Sid, just now in a different color, being silver as well as matte white. So there's the front, and there is the back. Very simple, very symmetrical. And of course, we have the Odin Sapphire, which according to the anime and the manga should not be present, because there's only, like I said, one Odin Sapphire between both Zeta God Warriors. So that is that. Now, something that I was mentioning before, which I was a little concerned about, is kind of true in this sense, because he is a little bit loose. His joints are a little too loose in order to support his body, which, as I mentioned, for Saint Cloth Myth EX figures is a little bit important, because most of their body is made of metal. Now, for this guy, basically, the only pieces of plastic on him are the ab covers as well as the hand guards. Everything else on this guy is, armor-wise, is made of metal. So that puts him in quite a bit of weight. So there is that. Now, taking a quick look at some of his accessories, let's start off with the helm. Now, again, this is the same as the Zeta Mizar helm, except now, like I said, just in silver and matte white. So here we have the option with kind of the two separate teeth. Now, to put this on, what you would do is, first of all, you would just come around to here, pop the front and back halves of his hair off. And while we're at it, let's just show you how we change the faces. So here we have his regular neutral face, and this just pegs on via a few pegs here. And we got it off right there. So as we can see, there's a bit of a square peg, and that is how it slots in. And to change the faces, let's give him a smirking face, which is this one right here. You just literally take these pegs and plug it into this thing here. Make sure it lines up and goes in. Perfect. There we go. And to put the helm on, all we would do is we would take the helm, we would split the back half off, just like that. We would take these peg holes and peg them onto the back of the head here. Make sure that all lines up. And then we would take the front of the helm. We see these two peg holes right at the top, pegs into these two pegs. Just line everything up and just make sure everything fits all the way in. And here we have Bud with the helmet on. Now, of course, there are options for the helm, as I mentioned in that previous video as well. Instead of having just the two kind of saber tooths, single just like that, you can actually have them combine and form a jaw. This ends up becoming a chin guard for this guy. Now, to do that, we actually have to take the helmet off, so I'll skip that real quick. Now, with the front piece of the helmet, what you would do is you would take these fangs off, just like so, and you would take this new piece with these two pegs, and when you peg them into those top two holes right here, make sure that goes all the way in. And then same thing here, you would just take this and you would plug it on. And of course, we would take the back piece, put it on one more time, and then take the front piece, just pick that in just like that. And here we have Bud with the helmet that has the chin guard. So that is that. Now getting these extra fangs out of the way here, and here are the hair pieces, as we saw earlier. And let's just take a quick look at some of the other faces that come with this guy. So here we have a really kind of smirking, evil smirking face. We have a closed eye face. We have a screaming face. And we have a kind of mysterious dark-eyed face. And of course, this is only present for him and not Sid because he is the shadow of Sid. He, of course, is the backup Zeta God Warrior. So that is that. Let's take a look at some of the hands here. So we have the fists that are on him right now. We have kind of piercing hands with extended nails, which of course is signature for the Zeta God Warriors. We have two kind of open palm hands with the fingers together and the thumb at the side. We have kind of claw hands with extended nails. Very, very cool. And we have two kind of battle position claws with just slightly pointy nails, but nothing too extended. So that is that. Now, finally, of course, well, not finally, but for his regular accessories, we do also have a robe. And again, this is the same as with Sid here. It's just a robe that's red on the inside and white on the outside. And it was just pegged in via this port here. And very simple to do that. We would just get the shoulder pads out of the way, take this back panel piece, pop that right off, and take this, plug that into that hole in the back, and get the shoulder pads repositioned down. And here we have Bud with the cape, which of course looks very, very cool. And that is that. Now, finally, because he is P Bandai, he comes with two extra accessories, and I really, really, really like these accessories. Now, I'll just kind of explain the lore and the significance of these two accessories. Now, if you take a quick look here, I don't know if you can actually see that. You see how that one says Sid, sorry for my shaky hands. And you can see that this one says Bud right there, right below this golden kind of crest right here. Now, spoiler alert, in Asgardian culture, it was frowned upon to have twins. It was said to be a curse. So basically what happened when him and his twin brother were born is their parents ended up having to choose one, and they pretty much left the other one out in the cold to die. And Bud was the one that was chosen to be left out to die. They ended up taking and kept Sid, and a farmer ended up finding him. Now, along with him was a dagger, and of course this is the one for Bud. This is the dagger that came with him. The other one, Sid, was a dagger for Sid. And if you actually look at these, you see that the Bud dagger actually has a lot of scratches on it, while the Sid dagger actually looks very, very clean. And of course, the parents for these guys, they were very wealthy, they were nobles. So Sid, being grown up in a wealthy family, his dagger was very well kept and very clean. Whereas Bud, who was adopted by a farmer, his dagger is very, very scratched up. So I really, really like this little touch here that he did. It was very, very significant to these two characters, and I'm just really glad that they put it. So yeah, that is that. Now, getting the accessories out of the way, let's take a look at some quick comparisons here. So if I put Bud off to the side, here we're going to bring in his twin brother. This is Zeta Mizar Sid. Now, if you just take a quick look at these two characters, you will see that the armor of these guys are pretty much identical. The only difference are the colors. So for Sid, which is the primary Zeta God Warrior, his colors are mainly dark green with highlights of light green. Now for Bud, which is the secondary, or the ghost rather, God Warrior of Zeta, his colors are more chrome, and the highlights being kind of a matte silverish white. So very, very nice touch. Different god robes, but technically the same character. And yeah, just a very, very nice touch. So putting him back here, let's bring in the rest of the God Warriors. Here we have Beta Merak Hagen, and of course this is the asymmetrical one we can see. Looks very, very different between the arms here. Beta Merak Hagen. Here we have Delta Alberic Delta Megriz Albrecht. There we go. I remembered his name now. So put him right here. As you can see, he is the shortest one of the team. And of course, here we have Alpha Doobie Siegfried, which is on a stand. Now, he's not on a stand because he is the Alpha, which, of course, just for that, he should be on a stand. But he is on a stand because he cannot stand. If I take this stand off, he will just do a faceplant. His joints are extremely, extremely loose. I'm really hoping that they reissue this guy and kind of tighten up the joints, because otherwise the figure looks amazing, but in terms of functionality, in terms of being able to hold a pose, he cannot hold a pose at all. So yeah, that is all 5 of the God Warriors that are released as of now. There is a total of 8 God Warriors, and of course these guys would count as 1 star, so that would leave 3 more, being Epsilon Aolith Fenrir, which is the Wolf God Warrior. There's Gamma Fecta Thor, which is the Giant, as well as Eta Benetash Mime, which of course is the last in the Big Dipper constellation. So yeah, that is that. So some final thoughts on this figure. I really, really like this figure. I think it's one that if you do have a chance, that you should pick up. However, that being said, if you do have the Zeta Mizar Sid figure and you're not really looking for a figure that's just pretty much a straight repaint, I would say skip this guy because he is technically pretty hard to find. He is a P-Bandai figure. And of course, Mizar Sid was not. So if you had to choose one between the two, I would say probably go with Zeta Mizar Sid. You pretty much get the same things. The only difference being the 2 daggers, which I can find, are right here. So these are basically the only real extra accessories that came with this guy. Everything else between them is pretty much the same. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye.